Hello, good evening, welcome to another episode of Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, and for the next 2 hours I'm going to be accompanying you while you paint your miniatures, while I paint my stuff too. Connoisseurs of the show will notice that, yes, it's gone. I had 2 days off after a very, very long 9-day week at work, and I think I just kind of lost the plot a little bit, and it was just bothering me, and I thought, I'm going to trim it myself. So I started trimming, got shorter and shorter, and in the end I thought, it's just time it went. So this is what my face looks like. I don't recognise myself in the mirror and I'm having a bit of a crisis about it. It's been such a long time. But this is me, the new, invigorated, youthful looking me. Please say I'm youthful. Anyway, if you're new to the show, this isn't a tutorial show or anything like that. This is literally a place where you can come along, make some friends with these guys over here in the live chat, and get your miniatures painted with a little bit of company, because we all need sometimes, especially as life goes on, a little bit of time dedicated to carving out in our week some time for our hobby. So that's what we're all about, right? We all share a love and a passion for this hobby. Making models, painting models, playing games, etc, etc. So, you know, an opportunity to kind of make some friends, have a chit chat, and watch me get things superbly wrong. That's what I do. That's my shtick. I'm not very good. If you like what we do here, of course, please do consider subscribing. Every subscription goes a really long way to making this community grow. Lately, we've just been inundated. I say inundated. You know, we've had a wave of new subscribers and people coming to join the live chat. Hi guys, thanks for coming along this evening. So yeah, let us know if you are new, or you know, go and talk about it. Share word of Easy 8 and bring someone else into the fold. That's the correct term, right? Bringing people into the fold. It sounds like it should be. Anyway, yeah, subscribe. It would make my day. That would be great. Thank you very much. Don't forget that you can also do a thumbs up for this video. Every thumbs up goes a really long way. You can also leave comments down there. If you leave comments, if you do thumbs up, if you subscribe, if you do all of these things, it affects the algorithm in a really positive way. All hail the algorithm, because that's what it's all about. For the last few weeks, I've been painting this little fella up here, and while I've been having a traumatic long stay at work, I've done very little to him, although he is almost completely done. I wanted to leave it alone now for a while, because that was actually a project in the interim while I did my King Tiger, which is without its turret currently, and we'll get more into that in just a second. The reason that I had to leave him behind was because I didn't have enough decals, or any decals really, for this build. This was given to me by Stafford, who was originally in the live chat but has had to go away because he's spending some time with his kids, which is fine. This isn't a must. You don't have to come along to this. This is something that you can do if you want, and you can always watch it back on the replay if you want. Thanks for stopping in and let us know. This was a very kind gift from Stafford. It's a really nice 3D printed King Tiger. It's a beast. It's a big old tank. I struggled with some colour choices and learning how to do German camouflage the way that I had it in my head that I wanted to do. I've learned a lot recently. This is very, very dark, but I see a lot of dark camouflage imagery, and I wanted to kind of have a go at that. So today I'm going to be putting on some decals, ready for some washes and ready for some weathering as well. You've got to get the decals on there first, otherwise if you do all the washes to kind of filter it down, if you put all that weathering on top, then your numbers and your icons just go on really, really bright, and it just looks wrong. So that's why I waited. And I'm going to take you over to the workbench in just a second to show you why it's without a turret at the moment. Before that, I'm just going to have a quick flick through the live chat, see who we got here. We did have Staff. Hi, goodbye, Staff. We've got Crumb Studio, we've got Shiv from Table of Horrors, we've got Kez has joined us as well. And that's it for now. Hi, guys. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're all doing well. Let me know what it is that you're working on. I am genuinely interested in the projects that you're working on. I find it inspirational. The ideas that you come up with, you help me with my stuff as well, and I find it a motivation that you guys are painting stuff at the same time as me. So come along, join in the show, and tell me what it is that you're working on this evening. I genuinely would like to know. We're not just here on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on Discord at the end of the show. If you want to come and join me at the Easy 8 after party on Discord, there's links. I've got itchy head. We've got links to all of our platforms just down there in the description, so go and check that out, along with a bunch of links to some superb service providers, model makers, other YouTube shows. Go and check them out, because there's some wonderful people down there. And without a shadow of a doubt, I'm going to move on to the workbench. Don't know why I said shadow of a doubt, it just fell out. Just these words. Bye. I'm supposed to be a professional. Supposed to be. Now, I've actually disabled the button on my little quick button panel over here for my microphone. So while I flick in and out of the intermission and things like that, I might get my microphone a little bit confused. I was trying to like make things a bit more efficient over here. And yeah, I disabled it, so clever me. So here's my King Tiger. The reason it is without its turret at the moment is because it is 3D printed, and I took it apart. The turret got stuck. It often does because of the paintwork and it's such a tight fit. It got stuck and I prized it off, and then there was a little dribble of water on the table, and I thought that was from my cup of tea. It wasn't from my cup of tea. It was, you can see this little pool inside the turret ring in there. That is dry. That is 3D printing resin. What has happened is that inside here it hasn't cured because it's very difficult to get UV light in there, and it has started to pour out. The problem with that is, with any 3D resin prints, is that wet resin will erode away quite aggressively dry resin, so resin that's been cured. So if I had been left in there, that would just start to melt its way through and permanently damage the print itself. The fact that it's gone into there would just mean that that would start to spread a little bit. This is a very thick piece here. This is quite a thick top to it. You can see that it's a hollow print. There was a little bit of residue when I first started painting it on the inside, but I got the UV light in there, and there were no problems with it after that. But it would just kind of like, you know, classic Alien style, start to just melt all the way through the project. So what I've had, just before we went live, I've had my little UV torch. I've got a little UV torch here. So cool, right? And I just had it on top like that. And I could have left it in the sunlight, but I chose to leave it with this on it because it's fun to use. Just allowing it to basically be like a little place for, I don't know, for resin to cure. I did a little check with my tweezers. Where are my tweezers? Here we are. And I thought if it's still runny, if that's not a very, because it is a really, really cheap UV torch. I got 2 of them for about £3 off of Amazon or something like that. And if I tap this, you can tell that it's now solid. Yay, that's great. So what I need to do now is do the same thing here. Now you can see as I poured it out, a little drop just kind of hit here. That will, you know, mess that up. And you can see there's a big slimy bit here on the edge of the turret here. So all I'm going to do is just basically hold this on like this. There's lots of comments going in there. Who is the small child and where is Danny? I'm just looking at a quick look through some of the live chat there. A lot of my staff at work today were like, someone did a classic double take and I was in a doorway and they went, what? And then they back out the door and had a look. I'm like, yeah, I shaved it off. It was fun to have it. I'm not really a beards kind of a guy. I'm glad it's gone. I don't miss it at all. But I don't joke when I say I don't recognise my face. I'm having quite an issue with it, which is weird because I see photos of me. Like I've got photos up in the house of me and my partner on holiday and stuff. So it's not like I don't know what I look like without a beard. And that's like the first big beard I've ever really had. I left the moustache for a little while, for a little bit after I'd shaved the beard off, but I thought, no, it's just gotta go. So off it went. Bye bye. I'm not against beards. I don't like them on me. That's some people, they really suit. So I wonder how long I need to keep the torch on this stuff to make it cured. Is that enough? Very nearly. I'm just ever so slightly scoring the surface up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sensible thing, and I'm going to leave this somewhere where the torch can get at it. Now I can't just put it on top like on top of the turret like I can with the hull here. That needs to actually be like set up. So I wonder if I can just move a few pots of paint around and just kind of make a little makeshift resting area. Would that... This is very, very difficult to do. I wonder if I can just hang this somewhere. I'll just hold it for a little while longer. This is literally one of these things that I just noticed just before I went live. I was like, that's going to be a nuisance. So, yeah. Just goes to show you how sensitive this like UV resin is. by holding a cheap UV light on top of it. It does do the job, and that'll be enough for now. We'll come back to it in a second. So, I really want to get some decals on this bad boy. I don't really care about what numbers go on it. Like, I have a very basic understanding of German vehicle numbers and how they actually did it. They came in threes and they meant specific things of what units that they were associated with. I know that if it started with a 0, it meant that it was like a command tank, like so a part of the HQ regiments. So I know it's not going to start with a 0. I went to Warlord Games and bought a load of 28mm decals because I got quite a few 15mm tanks because I've got a lot of 15mm tanks. Did I say 15mm tanks twice? I've got a lot of 50mm decals because I've got a lot of 15mm tanks. That's what I meant to say if I didn't say that. I'm going to watch this back on the replay later on and be like, I'm just talking rubbish now. So yeah, I ordered a load of these things. What have I got? I've got some late German turret numbers. I got these ones in with red with white outlines because the later German vehicles had red numbers with white outlines on. And I think that a King Tiger, though I've seen images of them with and without red numbers, I just thought that it was a nice thing to do, and I thought that the red might stand out quite nicely on it. So I've got some of those. There's some really cool things on there. I can't remember what the R stands for. It does mean something. I think it maybe is like maybe like not a reconnaissance, but like a recovery thing. I can't remember. It means something. See some comments going in. Is this a common thing with 3D prints, says Jeff? Yes, it is. You can get curing stations with printing setups. You put your print in there, you design it in a way that the light can try and get inside, but this one's been designed without that feature, probably because it's cheap, cheerful, fast to do. Yes, it is a thing. Yes, there are ways around it. I could, if I wanted to, get like a little UV LED on a wire and just kind of insert it into the bottom of it, and that would do the job really, and that's probably how a lot of people get away with it. So I've got some German numbers. I've also got some Balkenkreuz, or the Iron Cross for German vehicles. Now, that symbol changes from the beginning of the war several times right up to the end of the war, and I could find various different ones. I couldn't find the later one that I wanted, so I just got these ones because I thought that they'd be standard. I'm not really interested in making 28mm tanks super accurate, like historical accurate, so I'm happy to put this cross on this tank along with red numbers, and maybe they mixed them up, who knows. I actually found a document going into depth about how the German vehicles were numbered and iconed, if that's the right term, and how strict the German army was about what crosses and numbers and how the colours and things and how should be used, and it was just it was a constant update thing. They had to update them as time went on in accordance with new regulations and camouflage schemes and things like that. That's what I was trying to say. So if anyone's interested in that, I can post that on Facebook if you want. To go along with that, knowing that I'm going to be doing some Allied stuff soon, I've got some Allied stars with the circles. If you can just about see those there, because they're white, it's quite hard to show up on the back of this colour. These are later Allied stars, so you'll find these on things sort of like 43 and onwards. It was a better way of identifying stars at a distance against, white crosses or black and white crosses, etc. So that's quite fun to have. And I also got some standard stars because have some standard stars too, right? The problem with having the circled Allied stars is that they do represent a bit of a target, don't they, as well? So I wonder if they stopped using them as well. But you'll see a mixture of all sorts of stuff through the years of through World War II. You'll see earlier looking stuff on later vehicles as well. When I got these decals from Warlord Games, it came in this huge box, and I was like, "What's this all about?" This is a crazy sized box to have, and I got sent a little letter, and I got a sprue of SS or Waffen SS bolt action minis. I don't play bolt action. I played it like once with Kez, who's in the live chat right now, with a viewer from from Easy Gates community invited us over to their house, and we got to have a go, and it was a really, really good fun game. I just don't play it. So I don't know what to do with those. Maybe I'll paint them up as a fun thing to do sometime in the future. We've got Yana has come to join us today. Hi Yana, nice to see you again, mate. Hope you're doing well. Did I see Adrian's come and join us as well? Apologies for being late. Sometimes I'm late, man. It's just a community. You come along whenever you want to, but nice to see your name in there as well. So yeah, today I'm going to put some numbers on the turret. Numbers on each side, I believe. Yes. And then I will put a cross somewhere on the hull. There are very specific places where they need to go. So yeah, I'm gonna try and do that. As a minimum, what I'd like to do today is get the decals on, so a cross on each side, and a turret number on each side of the turret, and then I'd like to varnish and protect it. That's a minimum for tonight. Now that sounds like a small amount of work, but we know what I'm like. So there we go. I'm going to come away from the turret first, sorry, the hull, if I can even get my parts of the tank right. And I'm going to work on turret numbers first, because larger space, yeah, easier to work in. Now what I am going to do, I'm just going to shine this on here just a little bit longer. And I wonder where my tank books are. Oh, I see them. They're over there. Do you know, the studio is such a mess. It's actually very embarrassing. Every time I tidy it up, it's just more space for me to hold more rubbish in. Does anybody else struggle with that? Like, I'm sure that's a neurodiverse thing. That's like, I'm an idiot who doesn't respect it doesn't respect a clean space. Overlord has joined us. R is for Regimental Command. R01 being the Regimental Commander. Oh, okay, there you go. Cool. I thought 0 followed by 2 numbers was Command. What number do you think I should put on the tank, Overlord Games? You tell me what numbers I should put on there. Now, we know that we're not going to do 131 because we know that that's a tiger, right? And it's the famous tiger at Bovington Tank Museum. So I'm not going to do 131. I could do 313. Let's have a little look through some of the comments that are going in. The Crumb Studio says, how do people feel about Masters of the Universe board game? So growing up, I was a massive fan of He-Man. When I was a kid growing up in the UK in the late 80s, early 90s, there were 2 armies as such. Thundercats of the BBC, He-Man with CITV. 2 children's channels, right? And I was a staunch He-Man, CITV. And all my other friends were all Thundercats. I'm like, what's his superpower? He's got a sword that has binoculars in it and can perv on people. I just don't get it. But He-Man, obviously, you know, he could turn into a guy with a different outfit with a giant lion. He-Man was so cool. I like He-Man. I really liked the disaster of a movie they made as well with Dolph Lundgren. I don't know how I feel about a board game. I'd like to see it being played, I think. I'd like to see it being played and just kind of be entertained by it. Kes says it would be interesting to play. The models are detailed, plus who could refuse painting up Evil Lyn? Well, there is that. Skeletor's just fun though, right? Skeletor's like a great villain. I just live in my own filth. I think I'm missing context on that one there. Oh, I see, because I live in a filthy room. Yeah, okay. I was a Transformers man then. I'm a Transformers man now. Lionel had a superpower. It was to call for help. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I was also a Transformers kid. I had all the Transformers, or most of the Transformers, growing up as a kid, and that was, as a relatively poor child, that was something that I was very proud to have. I did love having my Transformers. Who remembers when the animated movie came out and it started with a scene and it went straight into Hot Rod and we all went, who's that? Crazy way to start a film. I've got right here one of my reference books, German Tanks of World War II. Read it, man. And in here there are lots of pictures. Now, like I said before, these aren't photos, but they are very, very accurate drawings and they are very, very good for reference. Here is a picture of an early Balkenkreuz. See how it's changed from like the early 30s. Oh, this isn't even early 30s. This is 1917, so this is the end of World War 1. Don't come here for the history accuracy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zip to somewhere where the king tiger is and see where they position the turret numbers and, more importantly, the cross. Now, I read in that document, which is a copy of the official documentation, saying where the Balkenkreuz should be positioned. Now, I can see here on a Panzer III, it's positioned quite close to the front of the hull. But on this Panzer III, it's positioned halfway along. So I wonder, I'm concerned about the accuracy of that document, or about how closely it was followed by the people in the army. Very, very interested. There's one here that doesn't even have one on it. What's that all about? That's the Africa Corps, so it could be a different set of rules over there, who knows. I love a Panzer III. I love a Panzer IV. I think they're just all very striking tanks. Panthers as well, you know. Okay, I know you can't see it right there. It's just very glary if I have it under my lights. Here's a cutaway of a Tiger 1. So it's a really good book, and you should have a look at it. Get hold of it. I forget where I got this one from. I wonder if I've gone past the King Tiger. No, I can't have. I can't have. See, what a good host would have done would have been to find this before the show started. Okay, there's a Jagdtiger, which means I'm close, right? It means I'm close. Tiger 2, here we go. So interestingly, the Balkenkreuz is on the turret, on this particular one here. 313. Isn't it funny that I said 313 earlier on because of 131? I said 313, and there's 313 sat right here. Interesting. And here's another one where the Balkenkreuz is actually on the hull over at the front over there. So I think I have a little bit of liberty to play around with this one. I think it would be over the top if I was to put the cross on the hull and the turret, so I think I'm going to avoid that. Here's a photo of lots and lots of King Tigers. I'm looking at all the ones in the background and I can't see any iconography on any of those tanks. And I wonder if it's a factory or if they've been destroyed and burned or whatever. Maybe they just haven't been painted yet. But the one right in the foreground, tank 300, with the cross right on the turret. What do you guys think that I should do? I always love hearing your interpretation on things and what you guys think should happen. Where do you think I should put the Balkenkreuz? Do you think I should put it on the turret? Do you think I should put it on the hull? Do you think I should put it on both? Here's some pictures of the standard Tiger. There's 131 done up in different numbers to what we see it. Sorry, different colours, what we see it in the museum. It's got green numbers on it, which is very interesting, and the Balkenkreuz right in the centre on the hull there. Where do you guys think it should go? I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts. I'm going to go back and read through. I see that there's some. Is there some Optimus Prime hate here? The movie broke my heart. It broke everyone's heart. It truly did. Transformers is definitely better. Yep. 101, for example, would be company commanders. Ah, okay, cool. (112) is a possible number. 112 it will be, because it means I can just cut them out on a line. Right, that's not going to be that easy. I think they're actually all individual decals, aren't they? Or are they? It'll probably... Would it be best to do them all in one go? Or individually? I know, I'm looking at them now. They are individual numbers. Okay, cool. Well, that solves that problem. Thought for a minute there, I might be able to cut it all out and they'll all be in a nice, neat line, wouldn't they? And I wouldn't have to worry about lining them up. But 112 it will be. There we go. Okay, cool. A Transformers TTRPG. Oh my goodness. Optimus Prime, you can't die. One shall stand, but one shall fall. Wasn't it the most dramatic fight scene ever? It really, really was. Its year is dependent for Balkan Cross. Maybe. I've not read that so much about its position. So I think, just because what I saw on those photos, I think I might just do it all on the turret. Now, the reason for that is I'm being a little bit of a cheat. Because I have done this on a 135th Panther, is if I put it on the hull, you can see that there's some details that I can't remove because they're printed as a part of the hull, where I'd have to like cut the decal around. Does it make sense? I'd have to put it over the shovel and then cut it away. When I did my 135th Panther, I kind of had to do that, but it was much easier because a lot of the parts and components were easy to remove. But on this, they're fixed and I can't do that, and it's the same on both sides, you see. So what I think I might do, just because I've seen it, so therefore it validates it in my own mind, is I think I can just get away by putting a number and a cross on the turret. So that's what I think I'm going to go for. Adrian says, do number 104, small cross above the number. At least that's what the Tiger 2 is at Bovington. Oh, okay. Are my colours close to it? Do you know what? I'm not even going to get into it. I'll do 104. I'll do 104. Just for you guys. Unless you guys want to have a fight about what numbers. 313 is 3rd Company, 2nd Platoon, 3rd Vehicle. I think probably the turret, but I don't know about tanks. At this point, who cares, right? So many conversations all going at the same time. Jeff says the King Tiger at Mill Track, Tiger 233, only has a black cross, then its number on the turret side, not a lot else on it. So I'm hearing that as kind of free reign to go mental, do what I want to do, right? So that's what I am going to do. But, do you know what? I've yabbered on for so long now, I haven't even got anything done. Okay, here's a couple of products that I think everyone should have. Microsol, Microset. These are two things that you can buy from Amazon for like £1 or £2 each. And you will never use all of this up in your whole lifetime, even if you're making models all the time, unless you do something like what I did, and that is spill one day all over the place, and you can see that one is a bit lower than the other, and it smells horrendous. It smells like the strongest salt and vinegar crisps you've ever did see. So just be aware of that. One is really good for softening down decals, but they both kind of soften to a degree, but they help the material of the decal soften right down and kind of adhere better to the miniature itself, but also like over detail. So especially if you're going over things like the anti-magnetic stuff that's on tanks. What's it called? Can't remember what it's called now. Oh dear, my brain's all over the place. But the funny pattern stuff that you get on Tigers and Tiger 2s and all the late German vehicles, it's just totally gone from my brain. But yeah, especially if you're putting decals over things like that, this is a set of products that you can't do without really. And all you got to do is just brush it on. So one is for kind of sort of helping to sort of dissolve the look of the decal, and the other one's for kind of more setting it. And you can see here, setting decals, set, and a solution for softening. So what I'm going to do is I like to get a little bit of Microsol on the area that I'm going to put him onto, and then with a wet decal pop him on, and then let it dry, and when it's Zimmer it. Thank you so much, I was struggling so hard, I knew I wasn't going to get it on my own. And then once I've got the decal on, I can just drop a little bit of this on it and just let it set, and then absorb it a little bit of tissue and let it dry, and then varnish basically. Zimmer it. Oh dear, I told you I'm having a bit of a crisis lately. This wider beard has gone. It's why I don't recognise who I am at the moment. So what number did we say that we're going to go with? We said that we were going to go with 104, didn't we? Okay, 104 it is. Yeah, unless we have like a little decal war or something. That would be really funny and sad. I'm going to go for big numbers. You can't see it. I'm actually a little bit out of the shot here. Let's come away. So would use my ruler. Actually move my ruler downstairs, so I have to freehand it. That's not a big deal, he says as he cuts his fingers off live on the internet. do another one at the same time. Is there anybody watching this who's like, oh my god, he's gonna cut his fingers off? He's comment, if you can keep your head whilst all around are losing theirs, you don't understand the situation. I've used that in my personal life before now. Transformers being relevant. Transformers are such a cool idea, man. There we go. As Jeff saying, I like that to the Transformers thing. It's more than a cartoon, man. Right, I've got here a load of pots and things that are all dirty, filthy, yuck and gross. But all I need is a little bit of water just so I can put my decal in there. Very simply going to put a little bit of water. Just like that. Just like that. It's my Tommy Cooper impression, I'm so sorry. It is possible that I'm going to have a manic breakdown on the show. I'm just going to drop him in there and just let him sit there for a minute. So, 104. 104. Just going to go for it. 104. And Adrian suggested putting a cross above the top. I will do that. I like that. I like that. It's going to be cool. Oh, that is a lovely cup of tea. Yum, yum, yum. So, while I'm waiting for that one to do its thing, I could probably get a second one out as well. But I'm not going to do another one because I'm going to do one side at a time. So I'm going to cut out 0. I'm going to do that one slightly off camera because it's just easier for me to see, basically. So bear with me while I do that. Adrian says the soundtrack was the best. It got me right into decent heavy rock. Still use Dare and Nothing's Gonna Stand in Our Way as alarms. Oh, as alarms. That's bold. I can't do with vibrant, loud music as an alarm in the morning. I have to have the most gentle, subtlest noises, like tiny little distant chimes, because otherwise it will put me in a bad mood and I will kill everything in my way. And now cutting out the 4. I'm going to go for 104, right? There we are. You can see that I've got my numbers already in there. And I'm going to get me a little paintbrush. I'm going to use my army painter brush. This is a brush that I bought at the same time as one of my really decent Raphael Kalinsky brushes. This is a sable brush, but it's just not the quality of a Raphael Kalinsky. But I bought them to kind of compare them. I just don't use this one often enough, but it is a really good brush. But I'm not so concerned about it if it gets damaged, which is why when I start tussling around with these decals and putting them on the turret in a minute, that I wouldn't worry so much if I damaged the brush. I don't know if I'm making sense to myself. So yeah, I'm not going to use my expensive ones for doing this because I might end up in a minute like having to kind of like really shunt the decal around all over the place. Anyway, hopefully that is starting to come off the back paper. Might need a second. I think decals are a wonderful thing. Whoever like invented doing decals, super cool. Right, what I think I am going to do is get a little bit of blue tack and just pop it just here so that I can actually rest the tank steady so it stays still when I'm going to be jostling around in a minute. Started me off into the land of metal, says Table of Horrors. Adrian says, for reference, I have posted the picture I took at Bovington of the Tiger 2 on the Book of Face. Thank you very much. Could someone tell me the name of the Facebook group, please, as I can't get it through the description. Thank you in advance. Are you talking about the Tank Museum Facebook page? Or are we talking about the Easy 8 Facebook page? Because there's a link just down there if you want that. And also, there's the link to the museum's website as well. So if you want to, you can just go and find everything you need downstairs in the description. Oh, I dropped my decal upside down. Well, that's a poo, isn't it? Right, well, I'll come back for that in a minute now, I suppose. Perhaps I will start with a 0, because it's going to go in the middle, right? I'm going to try and keep the turret in the shot so you can all see this going well. Will this move? Get a bit of water on this brush. Doesn't want to come off yet. Okay, cool. Maybe it needs to sit in some water a little bit longer. That's fine with me. No, your page is not working at the moment. Easy 8, my good sir. Yeah, go. Maybe the link is. Some people have told me in the past that the link down there isn't working to the Easy 8 Facebook page. Let me know if you are experiencing problems with it. But yes, it should just be Easy 8. Sometimes Easy 8 OPC. For Online Painting Club, obviously. I am going to get a little bit of microsol. What I'm going to do is just dip my brush in there and just paint a little bit. Yeah, lovely. This one isn't the super smelly one. That smells a little bit like polycement, a little bit like it. But the other one smells like strong fish and chips or salt and vinegar crisps. It's a peculiar smell. These little decals do not want to come off their backing paper. Starting to come off there, look. Okay. Impervious. Okay, so now I can hold this and just slide him, hopefully. Just like that. Now I've got a small amount of time, really, before it starts to set on there, just to make sure that he's in the right place and all lined up. So now I'm going to nudge him around a little bit and make sure that that 0 is sort of in line horizontally with where I want it to go. That red really does show up against that camouflage colour as well. I'm really happy with that. Good choice, I think. And I'm going to bring him down a little bit lower because, like Adrian suggested, having a Balkenkreuz on the top of the number I think will look quite smart and a little bit unusual because I've not really seen that before. Oops, just undid all that work, didn't I? That's quite smart, isn't it? I like that. I'll put a small iron cross on the top as well. I won't put a huge one on there. I might come up just a little bit higher. There we go. That's quite nice there. So now what I've got to do is dry that area. So what I'm going to do is come in with a tiny bit of kitchen towel and just mop up the excess around it. And then just ever so gently just touch it on top without agitating it really at all, just to try and absorb any kind of leftover water that's on there. And now we're pretty much ready for the next number. Now obviously the more things that I start putting on, the more careful I've got to be that I don't disturb the previous one. So I need to just sort of let that dry really. Because you know me, like, I can't even leave it alone now, can I? Must touch the decal. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with a number 1. Let's get rid of that little thing. Push them up the backing card a little bit. Now gives me a little bit of space to hold in with the tweezers. Once again, I need to get some solution. I am going to keep this one dangerously undone on the side. This is how I'm going to knock something over, but yeah, whatever. I'm going to put just a little bit on here. Blue tack him down if I can. I can't, it's too late now, I've got my hands full. And again, a small amount of working time to try and get him lined up, matched up now with the other number that's on there. This is quite fun. When it works, it's fun. When it doesn't, it's an absolute faff. And I do have an official Overlord Games Panther in disguise as a M10 tank destroyer, and it has the Allied cross with a circle on it, and it's mounted on the front, and it is quite noticeably to one side on the front of the hull, because when I was working with it, it just suddenly adhered, and I was no longer able to move it. And that is that done, and that was a valuable lesson for me. This one wants to move around a little bit if I touch it just there. What does everybody think of that so far? Do they look quite in line? They don't look too bad, do they? I think that looks alright. I think I'll just try and nudge the bottom of that one over by about 0.5 millimeter, and this is where I can get over the top involved. Yeah, see that? I can't resist it. Okay. That's the first 2 numbers on. Awesome! And then the last number on this side here, of course, is the 4, which I've now just dropped upside down. Clever me. What a wally. There we go. I'm going to do the thing that I said I can do a minute ago, and that is I'm going to put the blue tack down first. There we go. That one looks alright, doesn't it? Some people saying some other things here. I found it and I will post in the future, says Crumbs. Oh, lovely, thank you very much. Table of Horrors says, put too many iron crosses on and people will think it's a Mohead band prop. Yeah, you're absolutely right, it's true that. So looking at the picture, the number is centered to the top, to the turret top hatch. I'm pretty much there. It might be a little bit late for moving that 0 around. I'm pretty happy with this position after you saying that. I like it. No, it's good. That's cool. Where's before? Oh, it's moving, this one. It wants to come off. No, don't do it off camera. I had to get my knife out and scoop him up off the table. Right. Get a little bit of microsalt. I'm just going to pop that just here. Now you'll notice that the actual turret itself is quite shiny. That's because I put down quite a heavy layer of gloss from the airbrush when I was painting it. That is to just help me do washes and decals and whatever, because it helps create less lumps and bumps on the surface of the model that you're painting, or that you're putting decals on or whatever. Although this is actually quite a grainy model itself, so it hasn't done the best of jobs, but it's better than it was. Just need to come in a little bit closer, doesn't it? Just a little bit. I think it's actually an optical illusion that the 1 looks closer to the 0 than the 4 does because of the big gap that is here. But you can see the gap between the 1 and the 0 is actually a bigger distance than the gap between this part of the 4 over here, if that makes sense. I'm trying to look at it at the camera because it actually gives me a better idea, I think, rather than looking at it up close here. The tops of them are all fairly in line. I think actually the 4 could do with coming down a little bit, fractionally. Well, I think that looks okay. What do you guys think? Tell me what you think. 104. Looking good? I think it's looking alright. That's cool, right? Let's get an iron cross. I've got 3 sizes of iron cross here. As you can see, I've got like large, medium and small. And I think that a medium will probably go down a treat. I'd like to keep it quite small, but I think the small is going to be too small for such a big vehicle. So the best thing to do here is just cut one out ever so quickly. Again, I'm just going to do that off camera because it's a little bit easier for me to do. Okie dokie. And what I can do now is I can just literally hold it above the number and just see how big it looks, basically. I think that's perfect, really. What do you guys think? I think that looks pretty spot on. Yeah, Jeff's saying good. Excellent. I'm glad. Pop that in the water. Does need a little droplet on top of it, doesn't it, to make it do its thing. There we go. Cool. Have a little look at this number here to make sure that it's looking alright, because if it sets and I don't like it later, it's too late. I want to keep playing with it. I think the 0 is tilted ever so slightly over. I think it's too late to mess around with the 0. Leave it, Danny, leave it. Leave it alone. What's wrong with you, champ? Oh, sip of tea. A sip of tea. Size is about right, says Adrian. Excellent. I like that. Cool. Thanks very much. All I've done tonight is talk waffle, show a book badly, and put 3 numbers on the side of a tank in the space of nearly an hour. Thanks for being so loyal and coming along and watching my channel, folks. I'm really sorry. So sorry. Just letting that decal soak just a little bit longer. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to come in with a little bit of tissue here and just soak up any little puddles of water, any little bubbles, because what will happen is it will start to leak out from underneath the decal, and I want to keep the decals now dry but also press down, so as it starts to dry, as the water starts to come up from underneath them, just applying the tiniest amounts of pressure with this piece of tissue, and that's helping to push more water out. It's also helping to push the decal up against the model itself, so it will adhere. Now when they've started to actually become stuck to the model, I can be a little bit rougher with them and apply micro set to them. But I kind of have to be patient at this point. This is very much a waiting game, really. My cross is now ready to come off. Just going to pop in over here. And let's get some more sole. I'm going to put a blob of it just here at the top. Now I want the cross to line up with the 0, don't I? There we go. Cool. Wish me luck. Lush. Ooh. Cat hair. Don't want that going under one of the decals. Or do I? A little bit of water just to help move things around a little bit. This one does not want to move. Why you not want to move? Don't do this to me. There we go, that's better. For a minute there I thought I was done with it. I thought it didn't want to budge. Oh, pretty much bang on by accident there. I'm happy with that. I'm really happy with that. That's come out really, really well. Okay, well with that, let's use the brush to soak up this little bit of solution in water that's just dribbled out the side of it. Push it down a little bit with the brush. Fabulous. Well, there we go. So, pick up any last little bits, apply a little bit of pressure to the decals. Hopefully I don't move them now, because they are so close to adhering, because there's so little water underneath them now, that if I nudge it, it'll probably be nothing left underneath it, and that's when it's going to stick, right? That's when I'm going to ruin it. And that's exactly what happened with my my Panther disguised as a M10. Wonderful. Chuffed to bits with that. Chuffed to bits. Great job, says Table of Horrors. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So now all I've got to do, of course, is get it on the other side. But I've got to be even more careful with handling it now. I don't want to affect those decals. The 4 looks a little bit off to me, but I think that is an optical illusion. There's like a little divot at the bottom of the turret here, as you can see. There's some curvature to the turret, and of course the spacing between the angles of the 4 and the 0. I think that is an optical illusion. They look pretty straight and pretty lined up to me. But you see what I mean? It's an optical illusion, isn't it? Peculiar. So I'm holding by the top there, I think. I'm going to put this little blob of blue tack on this side here. And I think it was a good idea lining up the 0 first. The 0 I lined up almost to the centre of this divot. So is it towards the front of the divot? It was. So the 0 is going to go ever so slightly forwards of this divot here. I'm calling it divot, but you know. probably got a special name. Who knows what it is. So, let's go back to the red numbers. I need a 0. I've already got a 1 just on the side. I'm going to drop him into the water. It's being a bit tricky and just pinging out of my tweezers. What I try to do is get a little bit of water on the top of the decal, because that's where we need the water to be. It needs to kind of get in underneath the number or the letter or the icon or whatever, and just kind of start lifting it off the backing card. Here's also a top tip that I've learned over the years: pick up all your old soggy bits of backing card before they dry up, because if they stick to the surface, they stick to the surface. Yeah, so put them on somewhere where you don't mind them being. Pretty much time to go for a break as well, but I'll get this first one done so you can see how Operation the Other Side goes, and yeah, see how long it takes me to ruin everything. Yeah. Once I've got this side on, I will then go back to the other side and use micro set. And then basically you just apply more and more and more without being vigorous, because these are also designed for removing it says here for removing decals. Focus. For setting decals, softens decals and improves adhesion, and it's also a remover. I tried to remove that decal on my Panther. It didn't. I think I'd already done a pretty good number on it to start with, though. Now, the good thing about a 0 is it's pretty much universal in how it can go on. It can go up or down, doesn't really matter. So, yeah. Here's some microsol. Being a bit of a bumhole, this one, isn't it? To start sliding a little bit underwater there. Don't you bunch up now. I have to go back and get some more soul now, look, because it's all run down to the bottom of the turret. There we are. That was probably one of my better applied ones. Okay, what I need to do now is make sure that solution doesn't run all over the place, but also make sure that it's lined up with the other side. And then also at the same height, so I don't want it to be any higher or lower, so I need to make sure that yeah, it's pretty consistent with the other side. And that's looking pretty good, to be fair. Might just kick the bottom out a little bit. Because this is a 3D print, you can actually see facets because it's a fairly low resolution polygon. So it actually has like print lines, or design lines, if you like, that kind of run down, which won't be there on a real King Tiger, but I can use them to my benefit. How many people are holding their breath watching this right now? Actually crease the bottom of that one there. Where I've been quite aggressive trying to push him around. Just crease the bottom edge there. And that will stand up and that will make a difference to the paintwork later on. So I need to be a little bit more gentle. It could have gone worse though. Looks fairly consistent with the other side, doesn't it? Looks like he's on nice and straight. I need to leave that one for a second. It's time to go for a break, I think. So, yeah, just to check the comments that are going in. Table of Horror says, I've only got a decal softener but never used it. Haven't even done decals since the 90s. Can't imagine they changed that much, right? More delicate than wet tissue, am I right? Yeah, they are really, really delicate. I don't actually know what they're made out of. It's got to be some sort of polyacetate thing. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm talking about, clearly. Some sort of plastic that is sat on a paper backing, and it's the water that gets underneath it and removes it from its backing, and that allows it to kind of glide around like a hydro non-static thing. I don't know what I'm talking about, clearly. Yeah, they are delicate. You can get different quality ones. It depends on where they come from. Some of the higher quality model kits that you'll get have got some really good quality decals, and if you go to a much cheaper one, you can instantly tell the difference in quality. These ones are actually really good. I like these. And this is just standard Warlord ones. Okay, I'm actually going to leave that one alone now because I'm going to ruin it if I don't. So, yeah, what we're going to do now, we're going to disappear for a quick 10-minute break. I'm going to go and refocus my eyes a little bit, try and calm down because my voice is all the time. I couldn't even remember Zimmer it. Told you, I think I'm having a bit of a crisis. Help. There's no need to help. You should go and change your paint water. I'll see you back in a few minutes. Bye. Goodness me. Welcome back. I went and got a grown-up juice, but I thought it might be dangerous given my present state of mind to have like a vodka, which I normally do, or a pint. So I went with a little glass of a liqueur called Amarula, and if you're not familiar with this, you must go find it now, if you're of age, of course. It is a beautiful, beautiful drink, not too unlike Bailey's, but very, very different, all in the same coin, and is made from the marula plant, which elephants get drunk on in Africa, and it is delicious. So cheers, here's to the weekend, happy Friday, y'all, and a happy April, because this is the first one of April that we've done, isn't it? I think it is. Cheers. Oh, it's still strong. You guys are having a great old time with Blues Brothers quotes over there. Well done. Blues Brothers is a cracking film. I haven't seen it in such a long time. I'm going to be cracking on with these decals. It's taken me a very, very long time, but patience is the key here. If I get these even slightly wrong, it's going to be really, really noticeable. So I have to make sure that I'm patient, that I take the time and get these decals on nice and straight, looking really smart. And then when they're on, I can give it a coat of varnish and start doing all the washes and filters and weathering and things that I need to do. This isn't the only reason that I've decided to do this project this evening. The reason I've gone back to tanks is not only just because I've got the decals, but is because Easy 8 is doing a first of its kind. We are doing a new collaboration with a couple of other groups of people out there. The first group of people that I should mention is actually just one dude. It's Grant with Overlord Games, who's in the live chat right now. So if you want to go say hi, because he's a wonderful, wonderful dude who supplies Flames of War miniatures, Warlord Games miniatures for bolt action, and he's got a couple of other projects on the go. We are getting very excited for Warlord Games' new release, which is Achtung Panzer, which, as far as I understand it, is a cross between a tabletop war game and a tabletop RPG of sorts. That is a game that is imminently being released by Warlord, and we want to get behind it and have a go there because it sounds really, really interesting. I don't know how it plays. I watched the hint of a video from Warlord themselves about how it plays, but I don't retain any of that information because I'm stupid. We're not only getting behind the release of Achtung Panzer, but something that landed in my pigeonhole a little while ago was some information regarding the 80th anniversary of D-Day, which is coming in June. If you can believe it already, we are 80 years from the D-Day landings in Normandy in World War II. June the 6th, I believe, is the actual date of the D-Day landings. Anybody in the live chat now could correct me if I'm wrong, but there were several operations all along the French coast, as we know. Various different operations with the American allies, the British troops that were going over there as well, and each had their own little designations, their own little theatres of war. A little project landed on my lap a little while ago where we're going to be celebrating the landings at Utah Beach, which is actually one of the closer in terms of where I am based in the UK. It's still about 190 odd miles away as a crow flies, but it is one of the more western coastal engagements that happened in the Normandy landings, as where the British invasions were more landings were more over towards the east, if you like. The reason that I'm going to be getting into this is that there's a gentleman called Duncan Wasdell, and I hope that I've pronounced his surname right because I haven't actually said it before, who is going to be promoting his game boards, which are a set of 4 modular game boards that are designed to represent Braycourt Manor, and the assault gun line that was situated just outside of it, which is about 3 miles inland from Utah Beach. Braycourt Manor and the assault gun line features very heavily. It is the setting for, I think it is the first episode of Band of Brothers, that absolutely brilliant HBO series that everyone knows. The reason that this is going to be a thing is because Duncan is going to take his game boards to the UK Games Expo in Birmingham a little under a week before the actual D-Day celebrations, as a kind of an expo up there to kind of show it off, play some games on it, and just kind of get everyone in, behind it and a little bit of publicity for it. No sooner will that event finish, that is all being loaded into a back of a van, driven all the way across the UK down to Portsmouth on a ferry, going over to Normandy to the museum that is actually situated at Utah Beach. And it's going to be there on the D-Day celebrations. The reason I'm talking about this now is because Jeff, who is my dad, hi Jeff, is involved in this project, helping build some stuff on it. I don't know if I should talk any more about that side of it. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I'll let him say more on that. So this is how it's kind of come across my workbench, really. And I would like to be able to do something personally to help donate towards the cause of celebrating D-Day 80. Because I think that even younger generations nowadays still have a smaller connection to the D-Day landings themselves. Even if you don't know someone directly there. I did. My granddad, who has passed away a few years ago, was fighting in World War II, and I think it's important to make sure that we remain educated about what happened. He's saying, hi, it's all good, you can talk about it. Okay, cool, thanks. I think it's important that we remain educated about World War II, that we don't forget about the atrocities and the people on both sides who fought and died in that war. It's really important. And D-Day celebration, of course, is a massive event. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be on one side of a coin, getting ready for Warlord Games' new release of Achtung Panzer, alongside my dad, Jeff, and Grant from Overlord Games, and Duncan from who I've met recently. I spoke to him yesterday on the phone with Duncan's band of brothers. Is a little group of people who've got together who go travel around with these boards and kind of just kind of raise awareness, do educational spots or whatever. It's a fabulous gentleman who's really going to go places with this project, especially to Normandy. I'd like to be able to donate a vehicle or two to the cause, so I'm going to, over the next few weeks, I'm going to be painting a few more tanks, and I'll do a proper little video, a separate video, talking more in depth about the cause and make sure that I'm actually talking clearly, because tonight clearly I'm having an episode. But I think it'll be great for the community to get behind this. So I spoke to Duncan yesterday, he's all for it. So there'll be more information coming on this, but Overlord Games is going to be providing a small discount on a range of models from Warlord Games, so that if you want to, you can get yourself set up in preparation for this new Achtung Panzer release, which I'm very, very excited about. But also, if you wanted to, you could buy another project, or you could just get behind the D-Day celebrations fully, paint up a vehicle or a unit that would be appropriate for the time of the D-Day landings, and actually donate them to Duncan and his cause. I think it's a perfect and quite a beautiful way of recognising this historical moment. 80 is a really big number, and it's quite a nice, neat, tidy number as well, isn't it? To be able to have your miniatures at the D-Day landing site is going to be an incredible feeling. It's only a few miles away from Braycourt Manor itself, which is actually a historical site which is being maintained by the family who owned it back in the landing days as well. They even have damage that's on the house that you can go and see. There's a hole in the wall that was actually accidentally caused by a member of Easy Company. There's a lot going on over there, and I think to have a small part to play in that by actually having a model painted, donated, so it will be used, played with, not just at the D-Day celebration itself, but in future events. It will stay as a part of that collection with Duncan and Duncan's band of brothers travelling around all over the UK, and hopefully all over Europe, hopefully all over the world if things go really, really well. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But what a great way to kind of help donate to that cause. So if you're interested in that, I'd genuinely love to know. You can talk about it down there in the comments. Of course, if you're on this evening, you can talk in the live chat over here. You can hit me up on Facebook anytime you like. Do you know what? Just jump on and give us a shout if you want to talk about it in any way. Even if you don't want to donate to it, if you just want to know a little bit more about D-Day itself, come and have a chat with me. I'd love to talk more about it. Now, like I say, I will do in the next week or two a specific video, aside from Online Painting Club, talking a little bit more about what the project is in detail and how it's going to work with Overlord. So while I'm doing this now, it's just kind of getting myself back into the frame of mind for painting up some tanks. And even though I say that this show isn't a tutorial show, I will be kind of mentoring, if you like, over the next few weeks. I'm going to buy an Allied tank and a German tank, and I'm going to paint them up on this show. I aim to have them both completed. It's a tight deadline, so I'm going to try and do them nice and swiftly to a decent degree so that it looks really smart on Duncan's collection. And you can buy your tanks and paint along with me if you like. You don't have to be a great painter. It's a lovely cause to donate towards. Of course, Duncan would like to have nice things on the table for the actual D-Day presentation itself, but everything donated towards it will be a wonderful and welcome addition to the collection. So that's D-Day 80 coming up. I think it is June the 6th, if I've got my memory sorted out right, but it's definitely this June, the 80th anniversary. Or if you want, just Achtung Panzer, and I'd love to know if you're getting excited about that game too. Anyway, if you like what we do here, please do subscribe, because it would be really nice if you did. If you get me another 22 subscribers, I'll let the cats in the studio and they eat everything. So, you know, be it on your head. If you get me 22 subscribers, my models are going to get eaten by the cats. They really want to come in. They're outside the door right now. Literally right this second. Anyway, please subscribe. It would make my day. I'm going to get straight back over to the workbench because it's time I did something right now. Do you know when you're having a day of days? It's just been a really, really long week. 9 days is too long. Too long. Anyway, some comments that are going in here. Danny, have you tried Liquor 43? Honey-based, very sweet and quite strong. No, I haven't. That sounds like it might be like it sounds like a rum. Is it a rum? I'm making it up, but it might not be at all. I'd love to give it a try. Why is it called Liquor 43? I lost the comments. They're all coming in quite hard and strong now. I can't see what's going on. Some people talking about Terminator. Eric Clapton and co just having a massive jam session. What's not to like besides the Voodoo Priestess? Oh, we're still talking about, okay, the Blues Brothers there. This is what you mentioned. This is what you mentioned this last week. Oh yes, yeah, about Band of Brothers, etc. Yes, it is. I know it, but I've never seen it. Please, for the love of all that's good in the world, go and watch that series. Honestly, you will not be disappointed. It's provocative, it's accurate, it's emotional, it's sad, it's happy, it's everything, and it's just superbly written for screen. Please go watch it. You'll have a blast. It's really, really good. Crumb says, my granddad was on a destroyer during World War II. My granddad was in the Royal Marines and he was on a landing craft that was turned into a flak thing. Yeah, really exciting. During the First World War, the Red Baron was an ace with something like 33 kills. That was nothing. My great-grandmother had way more than that and she was only a nurse. Alexi has come back in. No beard, the OG Danny has returned. Yes, hi, sorry, it had to go. I think I'm having a midweek crisis. I have one every week. Yeah, bring on the fairy Biotitans Warhammer reference. Bring the cats in. Get me 22 more subscribers and I'll be glad to let them in here. I will have a tidy up before that happens though. No, it's not a rum, but it's honey based. Cool, I would love to give it a try. Donations in a envelope, that'd be great. Donations in an envelope, in a jiffy bag, and I'll drink it straight out. I'm having a breakdown, guys. What is happening today? I'm going mental. Look, I've had these numbers sat in here all the way through that break. They're ready to come off now, surely, right? I'm losing the plot today. you gotta laugh, haven't you? Okay, so get a bit of microsol on here, a little drop on the side of the tank, and now got my tweezers held right at the end. That's not an ideal position to hold them in. Okay, stuck to the table. Excellent. I'm going to push this little one just a little bit closer. He's lined up vertically quite well. Maybe you can come down to a fraction, just a smidge. There's a part of me that feels a little bit like a cheat when I'm using decals for numbers and icons and things, but imagine doing all this by hand. It will never ever look so neat or tidy, right? From one side to the other, just make sure that the distance is very similar. I could try and use something as a bit of a gauge if I use the width of my bristles, but that's a really poor gauge. But that looks pretty good to me. That looks pretty consistent with the other side. They're very, very straight, in line with each other. Bada bing. Because that's how we talk in Devon. Oh, I swear to God, I'm sober. I really am. I'm just having a mare of a day. Don't tempt me to make 22 more accounts just to see cats. I want you to go and make 22 more accounts. Is that up to 200 subscribers? That would be awesome. As Kez would say, not an awesome. It's in Tesco, and in my store it's reduced to clear. Okay, cool. I'll go check it out. When you paint my SAS boys, will you buy a bottle of 43? I will buy you a bottle of 43. Deal. Okay, cool. Let's not blow all the content in one go, but yes, after I've done the D-Day celebrations, I will be doing a feature on SAS on an upcoming project, but that is all I can say on that at the moment. Oh, this one doesn't want to come off. Let's hold it here. But I'll take a free bottle of Plonk any day. Thanks very much. This one's a little bit friskier, this one. Just come down a little bit further. Yeah, he wants to peel at the top because that bit is so long and thin. He wants to just kind of bunch up and peel up. So be a bit more careful. But that's pretty close, isn't it, I think? Just needs ever so slight twist. Oh no, it's bunched up there. Okay, cool. I think that's all I'm going to get out of that. But again, I am pretty happy with that. That looks pretty tidy. That's alright then, isn't it? 104. 104. I think I prefer this side. I think it looks a bit smarter. That 4 is very close to that 0, but I think if I play with this anymore, I think I'm going to ruin it. Yeah, this doesn't want to move. Oh, and now it's moving. Oh my goodness. Get that quickly before it sets. Danny's hot tip. 4s are really fiddly. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Saved it. Yikes. Right, now, one more thing. Drink. And another cross. So let's get another medium-sized cross. I'll spit a little bit. Such a mouth-watering drink. It's really hard to get hold of as well. Sainsbury's, for those that are in the UK. Sainsbury's is the only place I know it's sold. a little trick that I've just learned is just give it a dip upside down, wait for it to saturate, and then twist it back upside down like that. And now there's water, I know, on both sides. If you just drop them in face up, they're so like hydrophobic that the water just stays underneath and doesn't actually soak in on the top. So yeah, that's what I do now. Learned that during the break. Citrus Arms has joined us. What's up? Hi, Citrus. Nice to join. Nice of you to join us. This Citrus is someone who joins me for gaming, online gaming, and is now just subscribed. Citrus Arms has subscribed. We've got another subscriber. Thank you so much. We now just need another 21 subscribers before I let my cats into the studio. Thanks for coming along, man. Nice to see you again. We've had a couple of epic online gaming occasions with some other friends of mine. We met randomly playing an online game, and we've just drunkenly and hilariously led ourselves to victory. I don't know how, because we are sometimes often a shambles. Recently started playing Helldivers 2. If you haven't had a look at that game yet, you should, because it's brilliantly satirical and hilarious. It's very Paul Verhoeven, and that's all I'm going to say on it. I don't want to ruin anything for you. It's great fun. Right, so the last little bit now is just to get this iron cross above this 0. Here it goes. Clearly that's on a wonk, but that is fine. I expected it to be. Let's just give him a bit of a nudge around. Yeah, there we go. Bit of a nudge this way. Bit of a nudge that way. How close is he to the top on the other side? Very, very close. These have adhered very, very well. I can actually see the texture of the actual model itself through that cross, and a little bit on the number as well. So they've gone on superbly. I am very happy with that. 179 subscribers. That's made my day, that has. 21 till the very boys and girls getting in. Yep. Plonk is such a British phrase. I love it. Yeah, it's a great word to say as well. Just say it to yourself right now, wherever you are. Plonk. The good stuff. Grown-up juice. But yeah, the reason I'm on this stuff is because I think, given my mental state today, it would be dangerous if I was to have anything else. But you've got to see the weekend with something, right? There we go. It has taken me, what, an hour and a half to get these things done. But it is important. It's important to make them look smart and nice. And I can already see that this side here is better than the other one. I can see that this iron cross is about 1 millimeter offside. And when you notice it, it's really hard to not notice it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it will forever be now that imperfect to me. But one of the things that I've got to let go of is the pursuit of perfection to that degree. We should all be, trying to improve to some degree in our ability to paint or make or sculpt or whatever it is. But you can't be perfect straight away. And trying to be is only going to be detrimental. So I'm not saying don't pursue perfection, just don't expect it straight away, yeah? Pour that little bit of water away, don't need that now. Excellent, fantastic, and like I said earlier, make sure that you pick up all your little bits of backing, because once they stick to the tabletop, they will ruin your tabletop. Cool, oh, another drink, why not? Lovely. Right, let's seal this up. So that's Microsol. I now have to wait a little bit for that side to dry before I can apply a little bit of Micro Setup. Just make sure that they are impervious to any damage, and then I'll give them a little bit of a varnish over. So yeah, if I bring the whole thing together now, pop him together, pop, looking pretty smart, yeah? I like it. My webcam can't keep up with the light reflecting off of the numbers either. It's quite fun to watch. maybe an hour and a half, but it's time well spent. Thank you very much. Yes, it's important to take the time on these things if you want them to look anywhere half as good. It's a little bit more difficult with me because I try to do something that is constantly, progressing on the show, so you don't get saturated and bored with what it is that I paint. But at the same time, I should be trying to impart with you, the ethos of patience. I was a bit worried about a little blob of resin in there that is dried into this neat little shiny surface, but actually it might create a little bit of elevation, just a fraction, stopping the turret sitting too low on the hull, which would mean that it could rub and create some nasty looking effects on the top over time if I use it or whatever. So it might help keep it elevated a little bit. So I'm not even going to try and remove that lump in there. It's dry, that's all that I need it to be, so that's wonderful, right? You had another sub in part 1, but you were looking at your tank and you missed it. Oh, did I? Crazy stuff. I didn't see it. I got a follower from Stephen Lynch. Hi Stephen Lynch, if you're watching this right now, thank you very much for following. I do have like a little timeline here. It tells me, oh, it was a Facebook follower an hour ago. Thank you so much, Stephen, or Steve, or St, however you like to be called. I really appreciate that. Followers and subscribers, it makes the community, and that for me is a win. So thank you very much. And that is all I should have tonight. Right, let's go back to the turret here. I'm going to go on this side here because this side is dry now. This side just needs to, kind of evaporate and set a little bit more. I'm going to get some micro set. I don't know why I shook it. There's nothing in there to agitate. Where's my paintbrush? What did I do with it? Where's it gone? Good stuff. Good stuff. Probably rolled off the table, isn't it? Oh no, it's right there. I put it away. Cool. So all I'm going to do is just get some of this solution on my paintbrush. I can load my brush up as well. There's no harm in it. I'm not going to go crazy and agitate it all over the place. I'm just going to literally just dollop it on. And it's as watery as water, so be careful with it. Especially at this stage, it's very easy to reactivate the decals. So I'm literally just, in fact, the heavier the blob of water, or liquid, sorry, that I've got, the easier it is to just sort of apply. Both solutions help sort of melt the surfaces of the decals down. They thin the decals so that they can adhere to all the microscopic and macroscopic undulations, lumps and bumps, and topography of the model, so all the natural bits that are on there. And then when it dries out, it takes shape and takes form even more. And the more you do it, the more fragile they'll become, but the more like actually painted on they will look. So the more that I do this, the better they will be. But with every application, I run the risk of damaging them or moving them. Even though they are set, it is possible for it to lift an edge, and then all it takes is for liquid to get underneath, create a little pocket of water or liquid, and then you ruin it all. And I guarantee you, if they do shift, they will immediately set and ruin the look. And at that point, it's just a case of starting again. So be careful. Of course, I could just go straight over with some varnish and protect it, but what could happen is that you will see the you will actually see the outline of the decal, because they're actually made on like a little film of plastic. When that plastic dries and sticks to the side of the model, you can see it as a very, very slightly opaque outline around it. If you look on some models, I even noticed it on a Kill Team thing earlier on, I noticed a tiny little mark that goes around one. And I wasn't looking for it, and it was barely noticeable, but you can see it. So the more you do this, the less you will be able to have that as an artifact left over, if you like. Now I'm going to go to this side here, which is fresher, so I'm going to be carefuler. I'm going to start on the 0 because that was the oldest one on this side. See, Kez just put a comment in. Interesting, the video I watched on using them said to use the set first and then the soul. Do you know, I've actually found an equal amount of literature that says for either way. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe as a little project, I will see if I can find something that definitively says how they are used and what for. But I've always done it this way with no problems, so I'm interested. Like someone was saying earlier on in the live chat that they've had just one of them before. There are other products as well that you can get. They all do different things. This was recommended by it wasn't a YouTuber, I don't think. It was like something on a Facebook group where they did it in this order. I'm sure it was a Facebook group. So this is following somebody else's advice. But yeah, like I said, all of the information that I can find, I found equal amounts for both ways, if you like. Don't know why I'm trying to play with this number 4. Like I'm trying to move it down a little bit, but I should just get over it and leave it alone. Got a little bit of stuff there to mop up on the side. Just shift that out of the way. There we go. Now I could come in with a hairdryer and dry that all down. Don't have a hairdryer with me right now, so I'm just going to apply another quick layer just with the excess that's in my bristles now. There we go. The way that I remember this, and from the actual document that I found, whatever form that it was that the sol goes first and the set comes last, and you can remember set as set it in place. That's how I've always remembered it as well. But I'm interested to know of other ways of using them. Lovely. What I could do is fire up my airbrush and just use the air, clean air, blow it on there and just help agitate that and dry that. But this stuff does evaporate quite quickly, as you've probably seen. So I don't have to wait that long. I could probably even just blow on it a little bit and it evaporates quite swiftly. And already you can see that while there are a couple of little bubbles here and there, they are very, very tiny. And what you do, once you know that they've started to set and they're a little bit more robust, is you can just start, with the solution, just start ironing the little bubbles out, as if you would be putting like a window sticker on or something like that, for example. And with every application, you can see that they are taking more and more shapes from underneath them. More patterns are coming through from the stuff I can see where the print lines are, for example. And they're getting thinner and thinner and better, basically, with every little brush stroke. There's a few little bubbles and lumps and bumps and things, and the one is very easy to do. Literally just stroking it down in one direction. I can see the little tiny bubbles, which you probably can't see on the camera at all. But that looks dead smooth. That is satin smooth, that isn't it? Look at that. With cheaper decals, they can be thicker, so they will actually have like a raised surface. So lots of applications of softener, basically, over the top will really help thin that down. And that will leave you with a very obvious outline. And if you start doing painting over the top of it, you will get that edge, that that lip. If you're doing dry brushing, it will pick up strokes of dry brushing on it. And washes and filters and things will run around them and make them even more obvious. So cheaper decals will affect it further on. But like I say, these ones are actually very, very good products. I quite like these. Pushing out a little bubble from underneath that one there. When you get a little bubble and you push it out, the bubble isn't air, it's actually liquid. So when you get a little bubble and you iron it out, you get a little bit of solution that comes out from underneath it. This is that 0 that I creased ever so slightly, so I'm just going to make sure that I agitate under there. Just make sure that there's nothing trapped in underneath it. And we're doing alright there, aren't we? I think that is enough to leave that, he says, and then promptly carries on. Looking really good. I'm just going to let that sit there for a second and just evaporate and dry. Wash my brush out of all of that solution. I don't think it will harm my brush, but it's always good to look after your brushes, isn't it? There we go. And what I'm going to do, as long as my airbrush is plugged in, it is. I'm going to agitate it with a little bit of air right before I varnish it. Varnishing it is going to seal all of that in and make sure that they can't be damaged with minor contact by like picking them up and touching them. If I was to put my finger on that and now wipe it, it would smear them all over the place, tear them into little bits and make a right mess of that. And that won't improve that, you know, it by letting them dry by air. They need to be protected by a layer of something, paint or varnish, etc, etc. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mop up that little bit of solution just there. It's taken me all evening to do, but right at the beginning of the show I did say that that was likely to be the case. If this is all I get done on this project this evening, mission success. So I knew it was going to be a difficult thing to do. Not difficult, just you know, time consuming, right? So a little bit of air, lovely, and all I'm going to do, I can see little bits of solution just starting to squeeze out from the sides of these numbers. Not going to get too close because I can see the actual decals shifting a little bit. The little bubbles moving underneath them as the air's hitting them, and I don't want to like get any air under a little tiny lip that is being made by a bubble and then for the whole thing to lift, shift, tear or anything like that. I don't want that to happen at all. So I'm very deliberately keeping my distance with the airbrush. Just trying to agitate it to help evaporate it. I can actually see now that there are a few more little lumps and bumps and air bubbles that could probably do with being ironed out by a brush. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. There's my little brush. Here it is. So it's relatively dry on there now. I'm going to go to this side because this one's a little bit drier than the other side. I'm just going to iron those out, just smooth them down. This is a dry brush now. And what I'm trying to do is those little bubbles is just try and push them to the edges like a window sticker. It's a very apt comparison. Actually apply a little bit of pressure with the bristles now that it's all kind of dry. And every now and again I might get the tiniest little bit of solution that comes out from underneath the decal. Excellent. Oh, I didn't do the cross. Cross has gone on really well actually. Yeah, tiny bit of moisture's just come out from underneath the one. I don't know if that really shows up on the camera there. But a tiny amount of moisture's just come out from underneath there. That's good. Decals are so satisfying. I know it's not really painting. This is kind of a painting club. It's kind of a model fascination club really, isn't it? That's what it is. But it does look smart. And it makes everything look so neat and tidy. It makes you look like a real pro if you get it right. It's so easy to get wrong. Going in with some sort of cockiness now, so I need to be very careful. Yeah, a bit more moisture coming up from underneath the fore. A couple of lumps and bumps are removed, that's good. Jeff says, do you think they had this problem putting the numbers on real tanks? I can't fight today as I'm painting miniature tanks. Yeah, they did. Absolutely. It's why D-Day was postponed. They all sat there painting their Tamias. a little bit more air. And I think we're pretty much ready for a quick blast of varnish. So I'm going to do that now as one of the last things that we're doing on the show. Just going to pop the turret there for a second. Painting sheet on it, spray varnish all over the table. There we go. Where's my varnish? I'm going to do gloss varnish again, just because it's really good for protecting surfaces. But it also matches the gloss varnish that's already on the model, and will help with filters and washes and weathering a little bit later on. I don't know why I'm shaking up the varnish. It doesn't need to be shaken. There's no pigment in there. I'm having a mare. Leave me alone. Right, let's get a little bit of air in there. The airbrush has got good action. That's good. It means I cleaned it out weeks and weeks ago when I last used it. It's been a little while. I'm just going to pop 5 drops of varnish in the airbrush, and I'm going to stick in a little bit of thinner. I'm sticking a couple of drops there. There we go. And I'll give that a little mix up with my mixie brush. I don't really use thinner very much anymore. I tend to thin my paints down with flow improver, which just helps it come out of the airbrush neater, tidier, and that acts as a good enough thinner. But I do use thinner for varnishes. Varnishes are really aggressive in the airbrush, and definitely worth having that property, having them thinned down. Okay, I'm going to start on this side because this is where I started, I suppose. Got a bit of flow there, that's good. A nice light coat, agitate that, let that dry. And that is silky smooth numbers. That's really, really smart. It could be a little bit better, but I don't need it to be any better than that. My paint job hasn't been that good on this model. And while it is a really nice model, it's not a highly detailed model. So I'm not overly upset about it. It was just a very nice gift that was given to me by Stafford, who wasn't able to make it in the live chat today. Thanks, Stafford. I've said it a million times on the show. Thanks, mate. But it is very kind. I've got a little mini beast on my desk. Hello, mini beast. Little flying thing. Didn't like me airbrushing. Sorry, mate. We're an equal opportunities show now. All beasts, mini or otherwise, are allowed in here. Bears, the lot, you know. That went on a little bit thick. Let's just agitate that, spread that out. It's gone a little bit opaque. A little bit heavy with the trigger. It's gone on nice and glossy there, that's good. Excellent. Oh, I've done it again. It's gone on really quite milky. Don't like that at all. If all beasts are allowed, bring in the cats. I told you. I need like another 21 subscribers. They've been in here before, which is why they're not in here right now, because I know what they're like. But if you think you know 20 or more potential subscribers, tell them about the show. Not only will you get to see cats that, you know, coming into the studio, but you will, you know, help me out by growing the community. And that's what I want, right? That's what we all want. That varnish is starting to creep underneath that decal, and I don't want that, so please just dry. That'd be great. That just needs to air dry now. It is done. Which is lovely. That compressor has a slight leak in it and it never stops trying to fill itself up. Which is a nightmare. Smooth as a kneecap. A little bit of texture appeared just at the last second, and that was a little bit of a heavy trigger pull, just on that one there. See that little pattern that's just appeared there? Don't think I'm ever going to get rid of that. That is just an unlucky thing that happened in the last few seconds. What can you do, right? But otherwise, silky smooth. Silky smooth. Just if I cover that over. It's nice. Happy. There we go. That's dead smart, that, isn't it? Love it. 2 hours. Just for that. Grey. Right. I must clean out the airbrush because that stuff will just go solid like super glue inside the airbrush. So, just flush that through. The last little bit's in there. Put the compressor back on a second, I think. I know you need another 21, but please bring in the fuzzballs. I solemnly do swear that when we reach 200 subscribers, I will let them in. It's all they want to do. They just are little furballs of destruction. And they can't help themselves. They go behind that white curtain over there, which is just a facade for me hiding things behind it. But my computer is directly behind me, and I've got 15-meter cables for like the HDMI and USBs and everything that run all the way around the room, and they go behind that curtain where I can't get to them, and I hear eating sounds. That's not good. There's going to be a fire, they're going to explode, and I'm not going to be able to do the show. So yeah, I'd love to, but I don't want to at the same time. Get me 22 subscribers, and I promise I'll bring them in. One more pass of water in there. And it still won't be completely clean, but what can you do? How many subs for just some pictures for starters? Pictures of the cats, or pictures of them in the studio? I can give you some photos of them if you like. I'll stick them up on Facebook if you want to go and check them out. But I know that not all of you are on Facebook, so I can put them up onto Discord also. I will do that for you. How's that? If you want to come and join me after today's show, you can join me on Discord at the Easy 8 After Party. There's a link just downstairs for you to go and have a little look at if you want to, where you can come and have a chat with me, and I will show you photos on my phone of my cats. How's that for you? Cool, let's come away from here. There's a silly place. Start to chant. Cats. Yeah, great. I came here to paint stuff, and you want to see the cats. Brilliant, cool. It's been a bit of a weird evening for me. It's, yeah, like, I've lost the plot a little bit. The beard is gone, and my brain power has gone with it. I think I've missed a couple of comments. Jeff says, do you think the decals find it harder to sit flat because of the printing lines? No, I don't think so. Not at that level. Even though they're visible, they are very, very hard to actually identify. I think they're more visible than they are feelable, if that makes sense. I don't know what that was supposed to be. Everyone's chanting cats now. Brilliant. So no, I don't think it affected them. The hardest thing that I found to get them to stick on is the shoulder pads of a Space Marine model, because they are so semi-spherical, I suppose. They've kind of got this weird sort of shape to them. It's literally like trying to take a two-dimensional flat object, which is the decal itself, and getting it to fit perfectly over a ball shape, because the highest point of a Space Marine shoulder is very, very round, which means that as you start to put a flat thing down, it automatically starts creating sort of creases that run out from the center of the decal, if you like, and that can cause an awful lot of problems. It was at that time when I was trying to get decals to sit neatly on Space Marine shoulders that I found these two chemicals, Microsol and Microset, and I think if I remember right, it was someone who was trying to show people how to do decals on shoulder pads. By getting them to sit down as flat as you possibly can, you will get little creases in them, but by applying Microset over the top, you essentially thin the decal down. It's already gripped in place mostly, and you're thinning out and pushing down that raised ridge line. So these products are essential for trying to get them to fit over lumps and bumps and shapes and things. And yeah, like the Space Marine shoulder pad, very, very smooth, very, very uniform for the most part, but just that ground shape of it across the whole thing actually is really difficult to get decals sitting on top of. Little tiny lumps and bumps, not really a problem. When I did the 135th Panther, the tow line down the side of it, which this little thing here has tow cables running down the sides. Those big cables that run down the sides, they're towing lines, and I had to get a decal to fit underneath one, but it was already on the model. So what I did was I pushed it against the surface, laid it flat across the cable, pushed it out onto the hull, and then just cut it away so it looked like it was hidden underneath, and it worked perfectly. It was very fiddly. There were other ways better of dealing with it, like put it together in the right order, but yeah, you can get them to conform to a lot of different shapes, and tiny little print lines won't make much of a difference. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because clearly I'm struggling to say things today, but if you want to come and join me after the show on Discord, there's a link just down there. I will be hanging around for a little while later. So if you want to come and talk to me about any projects that you're working on, the project that I'm working on right now, or if you want to talk a little bit more about Cats or D-Day, feel free, come and have a chat with me. Whatever you do though, please don't forget to like, share, thumbs up and subscribe, because the subscriptions really are the thing that makes the community grow. It is the growth of the community, so make sure you're sharing it with some people who you think might benefit from this show, or might be entertained by me blabbering on, blundering, making problems for myself, talking about cats and drinking. What a great show this is. Yeah, love you all very much. Thank you so much for coming along this evening. Watch out throughout this week for a update on the D-Day celebrations and promotions with myself, Purple Lion Creations and Overlord, and I look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Until then, stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, and I'll see you soon. Take care for now. Bye-bye. It's been a struggle this evening, I'm not going to lie. Cats. I've just noticed that's a cat in a box, isn't it?